What's up, everybody? This is Jack Sports TV. We do all things sports, and we do it well. My name is Damian Bell. This is Pat Donovan and Mr. Brian Lyle. And tonight, we're going to just let you know what's on our mind with sports. In other words, what's got us jacked up about the sports world. For me, it's the drama of the NFL being right on our doorstep, ready to kick it off again, and the games that really matter. Forget what you've heard. The national pastime of America is the sport of football. NFL football, the passion, the energy that it takes to watch the game, follow the game, be a part of the game, it's unmatched by any other sport. And now, with the training camps opening for all the teams, there's never been a season where you open up with so many different storylines for teams that matter, teams that kind of matter, and teams that really don't matter. And for the teams
Raiders.
Well, he said it. But for those teams that matter, you know, the Saints, they come back in an offseason. This is the first Super Bowl team that didn't get their team raided to death, and they come back with pretty much what they had. Good chance to do that repeat championship thing. For the teams that kind of matter, my Pittsburgh Steelers. A lot of losses, a lot of offseason drama. You got to wonder if they've got the wherewithal to get it done this season when nobody's expecting them to. And of course, since they gave their head coach a contract extension, he has to get it done this year. Not next year, but this year. And of course, the teams that don't matter, like the Raiders or the local Buccaneers, that have to find their way through it. I think the Buccaneers have a chance to surprise a lot of people this year. And just by looking at a couple of training camps, they got a ways to go. But when it counts, they can surprise a whole bunch of people. But that's what's got me jacked up about sports. What about you, Pat?
Well, as always, I'm always jacked up about the Tampa Bay Rays. Your first place Tampa Bay Rays, of course, losing 2 in a row now, but 8-3 on the current homestand. But if you see the smile on my face, I got to agree, Damian, the smile on my face, it's because football is back. Can you smell it? I was smelling it today. I was over at Buccaneer training camp just today. A lot of interesting stuff going on with the Buccaneers, and I got to be honest with you, I'm worried about this team. I don't, a coworker of mine at Creative Loafing told me he thought the Buccaneers are going to win 10 games this season. And I think he may be on drugs or personally a little bit of alcohol. The Buccaneers aren't going to win 10 games this year. But if I'm a Buccaneer fan, I'm excited about the direction of the team for the first time, and as long as I've been in Tampa Bay, I'm excited about the youth on this team. You've got up to 5 rookies that might get a starting gig on this team. There's really a lot of things going on with the Buccaneers, getting to talk to Raheem a couple times this week. He's really excited about these young receivers. Mike Williams, the 4th-round pick, all of a sudden named the #1 wide receiver on this team this week in camp. Really kind of getting the motivation going for some of these other receivers in camp. Hey, you know what? This 4th-round draft pick, this rookie, he might be #1. And then #2 might be the 7th-round pick, Sammy Strouther, from a year ago. So a lot of things going on with the Buccaneers, a lot of open positions on this team. And I'm definitely jacked up about Buccaneer football in 2010. And the NFL, it's back.
Well, it's great that the NFL is back and the Bucs. Yeah, there is some optimism. College football is around the corner, but the truth of the matter is until the games start for real, a lot of it right now I'm really not concerned about because guys are in shorts. We don't really see real fire yet. So until the games really start, that's when I really get, geared up for football. What's got me going, though, is back to Mr. Big Tex, okay? If you've seen the show beforehand, I'm talking specifically about Lance Armstrong. I don't understand why the media constantly, congratulations to Mr. Alex Rodriguez and his 600 home run. Why is it always that A-Rod and other baseball players get bashed constantly for performance-enhancing dope use? But, like, for instance, I heard Bob Costas this morning. I got a lot of respect for Costas, but to me, he's turned himself into a complete buffoon. I'm dead serious when I say that, for whatever reason, he always talks about, baseball guys are ruining the game of years past, but we don't care about Lance Armstrong because it's a sport that people don't care about.
I think that's what it is.
No, the fact of the matter is he's a fool because there's integrity. The Tour de France is incredibly popular around the world. And that just shows how dumb Bob Costas is. And that just shows you, just like eventually athletes become washed up, he's on his way to becoming washed up. The fact of the matter is he cheated the game. And Jeff Nowitzki, the special agent, works for the Food and Drug Administration. I talked about this beforehand. Now all of a sudden, guess what? He's got another former teammate of Lance Armstrong that's conspiring. They already talked to the feds. Right now they're keeping his name undercover. Okay, so that's the second person. Not the second, because there's also another teammate from back in the day who Lance no longer associates with, okay, that has talked about Lance and his dope use. This time, guess what? He's right in the crosshairs. He's right in the crosshairs, is getting his head blown off and getting sent right to the slam. Another thing that ticked me off about Costas was he was talking about, well, look how much good Lance has done as far as the Live Strong Cancer Foundation, and, oh, leave him alone, he's done this much good. Well, I immediately thought that, you know what? This is a guy that probably thinks that gangsters, drug dealers, oh, he's a good guy. Look at all the turkeys he hands out and all the toys he buys the kids in the neighborhood. He's a good guy. He's selling dope and killing the kids. Does he think those guys are good guys? Because they do good in the community?
But
the
Brian,
fact of the matter is, Lance Armstrong took federal money from the United States Postal Service. Okay? Federal money. And if you don't understand that, you probably think 5 times 5 equals 37. Okay? He took federal money, and all of a sudden, he tried to defraud all that sponsors, sell bikes to get extra money, and all of a sudden get the cash to run that team in systematic doping.
All right,
he got caught.
Brian, but the question I have for you is, how do you sit here and say, you know what, I'm furious about Lance Armstrong for weeks because of dope use, but congratulations, A-Rod, I'm glad you hit number 600. How can you put those things side by side and you want to congratulate one guy who has admitted doing the drugs, and maybe you give him a little credit for making the admission?
Maybe I went a little overboard with that. All I'm saying is, if you're going to let Lance Armstrong get a... Listen, I'm completely against dope use in sports. I think it's the biggest... to me, that's the biggest cheat in the game. If you take dope as an athlete to go to the next level, you know, to me, there's nothing worse than that. I'm being dead honest, okay? And I've seen people do performance-enhancing drugs at work, you know, whether it's cocaine, whether it's marijuana to get them through the day. I understand that, okay? But that's not the topic right here, right now. If you're going to bash baseball players, okay, why all of a sudden does Lance Armstrong get a pass? Why does anybody in their right mind think Brett Favre, okay, who's 40 years old, runs around like he's 25, who everybody knows he got caught using painkillers, is squeaky clean? Okay? You're going to let him get a pass that if he was a baseball player, they'd be talking about, oh, come on, he's 41 years old, he's running around like he's 25. Or Brian Dawkins, a 37-year-old free safety. I mean, that doesn't even make sense. Yet, for whatever reason, the NFL guys get a pass. It just bothers me that baseball is the only sport, and it's not even my favorite sport, football is, that constantly gets hammered. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and it bothers me too. But again, to me, you're almost doing the same thing as Bob Costas. If you say, well, he's giving Lance a pass, but he's all over A-Rod, but then you want to give A-Rod a pass and be all over Lance. It's kind of you can't have it both ways.
I don't want to give anybody a pass. I don't want to give anybody a pass. All I'm saying is, one guy's are going to get bashed, where Costas, man, you know how many articles I read from Bob Costas and John Feinstein, or Feinstein, whatever his name is. It was kind of like, you know what, man, I woke up today, I'm having a bad day. Let me write an article so I can bash Barry Bonds and help myself feel better. That's what those guys do.
Well, I think and again, you do want to draw it to baseball. Damien, I'm sorry, I'm going to let you jump in. But if you notice, guys in baseball like Andy Pettitte, guys in baseball that have been caught haven't gotten as much flack as Barry Bonds or as A-Rod. And what that draws me back to is, you know what? Both of these guys are notorious giant a-holes. So maybe it's because you're a giant a-hole that everybody wants to jump all over you.
Have you met Barry Bonds?
I haven't met him.
I haven't met him.
I can tell you
99% of the people haven't. Have you met him?
I've not met Barry Bonds, but I can tell you firsthand that Alex Rodriguez is a giant a-hole.
You've met him?
I've met Alex on many occasions.
You hung out with him at parties?
I don't have to hang out with him at a party to tell you he's a bad guy.
Okay. Most of these guys go ahead, Dave. Sorry about that.
Do you see this, folks? This is passion unmatched on any other sports talk show. Jack Sports TV, write it down and hold tight, because we're coming back with more and more stuff. Do you see the passion in this man right here?
He's on fire.
On fire. And we're coming right back. Vegas Showgirls, the only thing that matches the passion of what we do here are the girls that get it done at Vegas Showgirls, just a short cross the bridge from Tampa Bay. Check them out. Check us out, JacksportsTV.com. We're coming right back.